soil marks.
Thank you, Douglas. Cambrian Geological LLC, represented here by, you're the owner, Dennis McCaskey. Okay, you're suing Sean, you don't want your company name mentioned or your last name mentioned for $3,357 in testing that you did for him that he refuses to pay you for. Talk to me, what happened?
Well, Your Honor, just to give you some background, my little company does environmental due diligence, which means anything that's related to soil or groundwater contamination. I'm an environmental geologist by trade, a licensed environmental professional. We do a lot of work with the various banks, and in May of last year, I was asked by Ion Bank to look at a property in Cheshire that
Okay, now this was a property that you wanted to purchase for your business, and you were in the towing business. Okay, go ahead.
The bank wanted basically the environmental due diligence. They didn't want to give a mortgage
So
on
they
it.
hired you to do it. They hired you.
They hired me to do it.
All right,
Yes.
how much did they pay you to do your test?
That was
The original test.
the original work was, there was no testing involved in it. It's what we call a phase 1 assessment, which is basically it's a historical review of the property to determine if there's any potential for groundwater or soil contamination.
Meaning, what kind of businesses were there before that might have contaminated
Yes,
it?
Your
What
Honor.
kind of businesses are the kind that might have contaminated it? Gas stations?
Gas stations for certain.
Right, and what else?
In this particular case, we discovered that there was an orchard there between 1951 and 1965.
So pesticides?
Pesticides, Your Honor, specifically
Between
lead
1950 what?
51 and 65.
Jeez, and that stuff would still be around, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor.
Doesn't go anywhere. Where's it gonna go?
The lead and the arsenic don't degrade at all. They're going to be there forever until somebody.
What are you supposed to do? Take all the soil out and put new soil in? What is it they expect you to do to remediate?
Solution, Your Honor.
The solution is dilution, and the dilution occurs how?
You mix up the
Mixing
soil.
up the soil. So you were hired by the bank to do a phase 1, and then what happened? Then they hire you to do a phase 2, which is actual testing.
Almost. What happened was we did have a previous report on the site that there had been a spillage of petroleum and that there was contaminated soil which had not been removed. And I also recommended, in that report that we should sample the soil where the orchard was to see if there was a pesticide problem. And for that, I don't remember exactly how it came about, but I ended up working for the property owner at the time.
That's the guy who you were buying the property. You ended up buying it, right?
Yes.
Okay, the guy you were buying the property from. Go on.
So
So he paid you for that?
he did.
All right.
What we did was we looked for the contaminated soil, and we didn't find it at all, which was really quite surprising. And we did collect a couple of samples where the orchard was previously, and we did find pesticides.
So then what happens?
At that point,
Of course, all of this is important because then the bank doesn't want to approve your loan,
No.
right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
at the conclusion of that work, which was fairly short, we recommended that some sort of remedial action should be performed. I had this idea that we could basically clean the site up by soil dilution, and I recommended that we should collect a few more samples to see if this was going to work.
In other words, test one small site with soil dilution, because if it works, then you can do it to the big site. How many acres are we talking about?
3 acres.
3 acres. All right, so who authorizes you to do that?
Well, that was Sean, the defendant. He called me on August 4, and we discussed the report that I had issued.
When was closing supposed to happen?
It was supposed to happen in May.
In May. Were you already on site?
Yeah, I moved in the property April 15th.
So you moved in before the closing?
I rented it.
You rented it?
Yes.
So now, and according to you, he says, yeah, that sounds good?
Yeah.
Okay, now you've been paid by the bank or the owner, correct?
Yes.
So do you say to him, this additional testing will cost you X and get a contract from him?
I didn't have a total figure for him, and unfortunately, I didn't get a contract either.
But did you tell him I expect you to pay, who's gonna pay me? Did you ask him, well, who's gonna pay me, it's gonna cost X? Did you say any of two things? Are you gonna pay me and it's gonna cost X?
No, Your Honor.
So now you do the test and then you send your bill to the bank first, right?
Yes, I did.
And the bank pays it.
They did.
And everybody goes home happy. And then the bank says, hey, we didn't ask you to do these tests, give us our money back. And you did, you gave the bank the money back.
Yes.
And then you billed him.
Yes.
Now, you get billed when?
The letter was August 27th.
Okay.
20th, I'm sorry.
Closing still hasn't happened at that point. Okay, when did closing actually happen?
September.
How did closing happen? How did you solve the arsenic,
Well, we had to hire a different geologist, and I'm not an expert at that, so I don't really know a lot about it. But from what I understood is that when Dennis did the testing, this is an industrial zone piece of property, not a residential. So like his testing threshold was lower than what is for an industrial site versus residential. So
by the way, how much did you end up paying to have that remediated?
no, the property owner
The
paid
property owner ended up paying. How much did he pay?
about $30,000.
Right. Had anybody talked to him about how much it would cost?
Initially, when I know he doesn't remember what, but it was like $100,000.
That's what he had said.
Yeah,
To
and
whom?
that's
To you or to somebody else?
to me and the bank, and that's when the bank kind of said, okay, we're pulling out.
And then did the bank hire this other geologist?
No, the property owner did.
The property owner did. And then the property owner hired the remediator as well.
Yes.
Okay. So, did you ever hire a geologist?
No.
Did you ever hire a remediator?
No.
According to you, you never contracted with him or agreed. In fact, according to him, he never told you, hey, you're the one who's going to pay it.
No.
Clearly, he didn't think you were going to pay it because he built the bank. Here's the thing, Mr. McCaskey. When you come to court, you're saying, that man owes me money. That means that man has a legal obligation to pay your fee. Okay? He knows it. He bargained for it. He got you to do work. And now he's trying to get away with it without paying you. That's kind of what you're saying. That, a contract can be verbal. It doesn't have to be in writing. But there needs to be a very clear meeting of the minds and an understanding that you're going to do X and he's going to do Y. Your X is your expertise and your testing, and Y is pay you. Clearly, because you're an honest man and you've come in here, you've told me, well, no, we never really talked about it. What is your legal theory on why the man would have to pay your $3,300 bill after closing happened months ago?
Well, I would have to say there's two things. One is that he did authorize the work.
What's authorized? Authorized, if you talk to him and you say this might work, and he says, yeah, that sounds good, that's not authorizing for him to pay $3,300 that he has no idea you're going to charge him. It's not the same.
Your Honor, I did discuss with him the fact that the laboratory bill was going to be double.
Can I just ask you a question then?
Sure.
If you authorized the work, why'd you build the bank?
Well, my understanding is that the bank is going to bill him for it in any case, so I thought,
Really?
perhaps I was mistaken, but I did the work and
Yeah.
I would like to get paid.
I know, and I have the remedy, I have the antidote for your problem. And the antidote is that before you do work, you make clear who is paying you. Is it the bank? Is it the buyer? Is it the owner? And you make clear how much you're charging. Is it going to be $1,500? Is it going to be $3,000? But I am here to enforce contracts. And there is no contract in this case between the two of you. A contract is a meeting of the minds between two people that you're going to do X and he's going to do Y in return for X. That never happened here. The clearest evidence of that is that you built the bank. Verdicts for the defendant.